Be sending teachers an email here in the next, probably today, about if you don't know how to log into live text, this is the easiest way. Because a lot of teachers are pretty techy and they're good at it and they remember their passwords and all that. And a lot of them don't. And sometimes when the live text email gets sent out, it goes to a spam folder for some reason. We're not sure why. And so then they can't find it. And so that's a whole nother problem altogether. So if your teacher is inquiring about that, I'm going to send the directions, but you can always, at the top of the page where the login box is, they can always click Forgot Password, put in their K-12 email address, because that's what we use for everyone, and click Send an Email. It should come right then. It has a reset link, and it's very easy. Even if they've never logged in, they can send a reset link. It's not a problem. So if anybody is really stressing about it, any teachers are really stressing about it. Sometimes they're stressed a little bit. You can do that today for them, and that would ease a lot of minds. So let me mark this off the list. Say live text. Everyone's TPA was submitted. Whoop, whoop. Awesome. I mean, when I get the text that says everybody submitted, because I only had like 1 or 2 panicked emails, your panicked email about your video, but we got it passed on and it was all good. The first or second semester that we did the TPA, it was due on a Friday night, which was a mistake, and it was like 11:52, and my phone was going crazy. And my husband's like, what is going on? I'm like, oh, everybody trying to submit, their stuff won't upload. Or they waited until 11:30 to try to upload their video or something. It was just stuff like that. So anyway, I just want to really applaud you guys for taking care of that. That totally was a relief to me, a relief to you, I'm sure. So anyway, those are out to graders now. Has anybody received any feedback yet? Okay.
How will we receive feedback?
Okay, this is how you'll receive feedback. If you do not pass part of it, okay, you will receive an email from Candace, and it is going to say, Allison, you need to reevaluate task 2, sections, okay? That's how you'll receive feedback. And then you will go over that, fix it. There will be specifics in there, specific questions and information from the grader, like elaborate on, clarify this. You guys get where I'm going with that? That'll be sent to you. You can go back in, fix it. You'll send it back to her. She will pass it on.
Send it to Candace, the part that we fixed?
Yes, the part that you fixed. She'll clarify in the email what you need to submit to her. You don't go back into live text, is my understanding, right? Dr. Lockwood, you know this. They don't go back into live text. They just send an email. I'm pretty sure. Don't hold me to that, but if something changes, she will give you specific directions if you do have to revise parts. Okay? Everybody good on that? Whew. All right, check that off. Okay, you guys have started in your second placements. Everybody should be up teaching, moving around, have an idea for a unit. Everything should be rolling along, correct? Everybody moving right along. Shouldn't be any more observation, anybody sitting around, any of that kind of stuff. Absences, I have tracked this entire time. I'm continuing to track. When it's coming close to the end of the placement, I will let you know where you stand and what days you need to make up, how many you need to make up. There are certain things that we excuse for. There are certain things that we don't excuse for. You all know how that goes. So it's at my discretion, what days you have to make up. So, if there's death in the family, obviously you're not making those days up. If you're sick with a doctor's excuse, we will look at that and take that as a case-by-case basis. I will just say I was kind of disappointed in a few of you because I got a bunch of emails last Tuesday and Wednesday of people who missed. And I know why you missed. I mean, anybody in this room can tell me why you missed. And that's not cool. I mean, if you're sick, I get it. But if you just take a day off to work on your TPA, that's a real problem. Yeah. So it's unprofessional and it's not okay. And I will just tell you in the past, Mr. Woodworth and I had a student who took like 4 days off prior to the submission, And I could have wrung his neck. I put him on a plan of improvement. That's how mad I was. Because it's unprofessional. And he had too many absences anyway. So, remember that. There are things that we have deadlines for and we have to get done, and Dr. Lockwood will attest to this, and these gentlemen in the back will attest to this, and you just do it. You just suck it up and you do it and you move on, okay? So, there's my soapbox. I'm going to move on from that. I'm not talking about it. All right, your final seminar is going to be on November the 30th. It's on the calendar. It'll be here on campus. I'm pretty sure it's in the Don Morse room or B5. I'll send you clarification on that. On that day, we have that in the morning, and then this is how I usually work it. If you go back to school and you have an absent day that you have to make up, that makes up for one of your days. If you go back to school that afternoon. If not, go to lunch with your friends, enjoy your afternoon. It's kind of like your last hurrah before it's over, okay? And that's on November 30th. I'll send you more information the closer that time comes. That morning we'll have guest speaker, usually on some sort of diversity issue. We will have a time where you all complete some surveys of just the overall experience of your cooperating teachers, of your supervisors. So I'll have all of those things out to you guys that day. And then we'll do Student Teachers of the Year. We announce those at that time. I'll be sending out those nomination forms probably today or tomorrow for Student Teacher of the Year. If your teacher nominates you, that's really that's an honor, you know. So just know that. Whether you win or don't win, it's a major honor just to be nominated.
Do we know if we get nominated?
We haven't. We've told some people in the past. We haven't always told everybody. Last year we had. I'm trying to think how it works with our elementary. I can't really remember how it works, but the ones that it was basically a tie. What happens is your teachers or your supervisors or both might nominate you, and they send all of that to me, and then it's dispersed to a committee. It's a PDS advisory board, and we read over those. I try to abstain from voting unless I most totally have to. I usually just set myself out of the voting, but you know, if there's a tie or something, you know, Dr. Backus and I typically pull ourselves out, and then we will vote if we have to. But it's really an honor, and it's you get an honorarium. It's a $200 honorarium, you should check, and you get to put on your resume your Student Teacher of the Year, and it's pretty cool. So I'll be sending those out probably today or tomorrow for teachers. Okay. So what is that thing on your lesson plan when you guys do a lesson plan? If something doesn't work, what's it called? Contingency. Okay, so I'm working with my contingency plan this morning because none of my tech is working. And that's okay. Emily was nice enough to offer her laptop. I still couldn't get that all set up. And typically I'm pretty on top of things, but it's okay. So we're working on the contingency plan, which is the printed out that I'm going to email you when we leave, okay? So, guess what? You just get to listen for a little bit, I know. Right, I know you love listening to me talk, and I love talking. So, okay, so today we are really here to talk about the capstone interview, and what the capstone interview is, what it entails, and how it can affect your overall student teaching credit, no credit situation, all right? So, what is the interview? The interview is a formal question-answer interview. You have a panel of 2 to 3 people, typically. The panel is made up of university supervisors. It's made up of College of Ed professors. It's made up of public school personnel, like administrators, teachers. Okay, it's a mixed panel. And basically what it is, it's a sit-down. We typically have it in the small interview rooms up this hallway and up the other hallway, where you go in and you're going to discuss your first placement generally. You can touch on your second one, but you're going to discuss all of that stuff that ended up in your TPA that we had you do. That's what you're going to talk about, okay? So you're going to have an opportunity to discuss the overall placement, the unit that you wrote, how your scores came out, how your data worked, and the strengths and weaknesses of the unit, your strengths and weaknesses overall. Okay? I have the questions and I have the rubric. I'm going to send you all of this as soon as we leave here, along with the wonderful PowerPoint I was going to show that's not here. So, and I'm going to go over all of these with you in just a moment. You're going to be asked about your goals for your student teaching. Like, what goals did you have when you started? Did you achieve those goals? How did you work to achieve those goals? You are going to be asked about what was successful and what was unsuccessful, about your unit and how that works. Guess what? No one was completely successful, right? Was everybody successful with their unit? They wrote this wonderful unit and they taught it and everything was perfect? No, and except for Jeremiah. Nobody wants to hear that either. Okay, nobody wants to hear that. In the past, we have had people who, when they said, "So, would you change anything about your unit?" No, my unit was great. It was perfect. No, it wasn't, but okay, whatever. So you need to show honesty to a point. Do you get where I'm saying with that? Honesty can sometimes turn negative. Have y'all noticed that? Yeah. Honestly, what do you think about this? Well, I know somebody that was doing an interview for a job recently, and when they were asked, there were two different people, and they were asked the same question: why, you already have a job, why are you trying to get this job? Okay, so one person answered, "Oh, well, I would like to take on more responsibility, and I think I'd be a good fit, blah, 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 blah." And the other person answered, "Nobody in my office respects me, and they won't let me do anything." Who do you think got the job? Number one, right? That's a true story. So honesty can sometimes be a fault if you just let it go. So control that. You're also going to talk about the design of your unit based on your data. So you're going to talk about, well, I gave my pretest, and this is what I found from my pretest. So then I wrote my unit this way, and this is how it worked. Make sense? Okay. And then the last thing you're going to really talk about is areas of self-improvement. This is another thing that sometimes people will say, "Oh, I don't have any areas of self-improvement. I'm doing a great job." Well, yeah, sure you are. Everybody can improve. I can think of 5 areas of self-improvement for myself right now, and I bet everybody in this room can too. Except for maybe Mr. Messinger and Mr. Woodley, because they're pretty great. But other than them, everybody else can think of 5 reasons or 5 ways that they can self-improve. And let's just take a little survey here. Who could improve in classroom management? Time management, lesson planning, data analysis, right? I mean, we can all raise our hands on a lot of those different things. So, me, technology use. So be honest, but don't be negative, okay? All right, so like I said earlier, the panel, it's made up of faculty, it's made up of supervisors, it's made up of public school professionals. Lots of principals come. Lots of principals hire people that they judged in their capstone interview. It's happened. So just know that. This is a great job interview experience. All right. This is a job interview where there's not necessarily a job at stake. There's a grade at stake, not necessarily a job at stake. Okay, so the judges are selected randomly. Basically, I put the panels together with people who I think will work well together. And I try to have one of each. I don't try to have 2 supervisors or 2 public school people. You will not be placed with your current or past university supervisor if at all possible. Except for music people, who Captain Walden does all this, so sorry. Now listen, let's say that I send you your appointment for your interview, and you've got one of the judges is your university supervisor or was for level 2. Please do not send me an email that says, "You said we wouldn't be, da 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 da." No, I said if all possible we wouldn't be. Sometimes I have to move people around, okay? So don't freak out. Before we go in, the judges have the questions, they have the rubric, they understand the scoring, and they understand the expectations. They're not going into a blind or anything of that nature. Do you have a question?
For the interviews, are they typically during like weekdays, like during?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
just making sure in case of work.
Yeah, no, I will tell you exactly. It's during a school day, and we're going to talk about that in a minute too. So, but prior to going in, the judges understand what needs to take place. Most of them have been doing it for about 6 semesters now, okay? So they know what's going on. All right, so how it's scored. It's scored on this rubric. It's a 1 to 4 scale. The items that are scored are your speaking skills, the central ideas, nonverbal elements. What are nonverbal elements? Like body language, facial expressions, things like that. Okay, let's talk about a few examples for a minute of this. So, one time I was scoring someone. We were back in one of these rooms here. He looked really nice. He was a good guy. He looked really nice, but he was very nervous. He was very nervous. Who gets nervous? Okay. I get a little nervous sometimes. It depends on the situation. Like with you guys, I'm not crazy nervous. If it was some, because we know each other. It's all good. One of my best friends, whenever she was a Title I teacher and she would have to give parent presentations, and she would get what we called the redneck. Y'all gonna know what the redneck is? I mean, like literally so red it was embarrassing. It would just creep up her face. And so on those days she wore the turtleneck or the scarf. So she didn't have the redneck showing. This gentleman, bless his heart, I mean, he had good stuff, he was fun. He had on a shirt and tie, like things you don't forget. And he started sweating. He kept sweating. He was sweating. And by the time the 15 minutes was up, first off, I was super uncomfortable because I was watching him the whole time. He got up and he had on a light blue dress shirt and it was completely soaking wet. And like I wanted to cry a little bit, like I felt kind of bad, There have been people who have come in who I've watched get hives and they've creeped up. And I mean, I was at a point one time where I almost was like, do we need to call 911? Are you okay? Whatever. But here's the thing. This is the way I look at it. Don't be nervous. I mean, be prepared, but don't make yourself sick about it. Yes, sir.
Should we come in with like a hard copy of our?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about that.
All right.
You're gonna have all your stuff. So nonverbal elements. Don't wear like a giant necklace that day and play with it the whole time. That's distracting, and it's not okay. Listening skills. You guys have heard 2 ears, 1 mouth, right? Okay, even though you are the focus of this, you need to listen when someone is asking you a question. Okay, you need to listen to the question. Professional dispositions, dress, punctuality, prepared. You're expected to dress like a professional for this interview. You need to look like a professional. This would be something you would wear to a job interview. Okay. I think a shirt and tie is nice for gentlemen. I think it's expected. I'll just say that. Somebody a couple years ago wore a t-shirt and a hoodie zip up, and it was not okay. One time somebody was coming back and Tanya walked him in. It was one of the first semesters we did it. She said, "You told him what to wear, right?" I was like, "Yeah." And this girl walked in jeans, which we don't even wear to, on a regular school day, and like a button-up shirt, and her hair was in a ponytail, and that was not okay. This is an interview. This is a job interview. You need to look like a professional. You will have a time. I'll give you a time. Like let's say, Lindsay, you're supposed to, your interview's at 10 o'clock. Be here by 9:30. Be here 30 minutes early, because here's what happens. Sometimes we run ahead. We can maybe go ahead and push in. Sometimes people are late and they get skipped over. So don't be late. I'm just going to say those 3 words. Don't be late. On time is late. Okay? Don't be late. Don't be distracting in your presence. Does this make sense, like with your clothes? And things like I said about the big necklace or the tons of jewelry, or don't decide that's the day you're gonna try high heels for the first time. I mean, it's just, that's a mistake. That's a bad idea. Do you guys wanna elaborate on anything?
Pink hair.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
the whole hair color change.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you look the way you typically look, that's cool. If you come in and you got all new stuff happening or whatever, you know, try to tone it down. I think I've told y'all this maybe, I don't know, but my husband is really, when he interviews people, he like looks at what they look like, you know, and what their presence is. And so, like he came in and was like, listen, I interviewed this girl today and I could not quit looking at her skanky fingernails the whole time. Like, I don't even know what she said because her fingernails were neon green and it was all picked off and it looked awful. And I'm like, really? Are you kidding? He said, no. I mean, it's just stuff like that. People pay attention when it's in this situation, okay? So just make sure you got it together. Don't wear something that's too tight and you feel like you're going to pass out or, you know, anything like that. On this rubric, it is set up as distinguished is 4 points, proficient is 3 points, basic is 2 points, unsatisfactory is 1 point. We've told you all along on your rubrics for your evaluations, what are you trying to get? 2s. On this, 3. Okay? 3 is proficient. When you look at this rubric, you're going to understand that 3 is what everybody should get. I will just say this. On this rubric, when I get it sent to you, I'm sorry. If I'd have known this was not going to work. It talks about the difference between basic and proficient. Little evidence, adequate evidence. Less than 2 areas for improvement, 2 areas for improvement. Do you see what I'm talking about, the difference? Inadequate ability to listen and understand, and adequate ability to listen and understand. Clearly enunciates some words, clearly enunciates most words. Okay, and let's talk about this. I always use myself as the example, and I'm okay with that. And Dr. Lockwood thinks it's hilarious, but we just move on. Okay. When I am talking to you as a group, I turn on what I call my presidential voice. It's my professional voice. I try really hard to enunciate my words correctly and clearly. But where am I from? I'm from Wayne. And so when I'm with my friends, I have my honky-tonk regular voice. All right? And if you see me out, I probably have my honky-tonk voice on. And that's all right. And I'm okay with that. And if if you hear me talking with my people, which are people who sound like me, then I tend to start sounding like that again. Okay? So what I do for you all, though, is I rein it in. It's just like an actor or an actress when they have a British accent and then they use the American accent. It's pretty interesting, I've always thought. That's mine. My presidential accent or my honky-tonk voice. So use your presidential voices. Does this make sense? Okay. The questions. I'm just going to read over these real quick. You don't need to write them down because I'm going to send them to you. Just listen. So there's 7 possible questions. Do the judges deviate from those? Sometimes. Yeah, because if you're talking and they want to know a little bit more about something you're talking, they might ask you to elaborate a little more. And that's okay. The first one, when you began your student teaching experience, what goals did you set for yourself and for your students? Tell us about your unit. What did it focus on? What were the most and least successful activities and assessments? Why do you think they were successful or not successful? How could you redesign your instruction to make it more successful? How would these changes improve your student learning? All of you guys have wheels going around, don't you? Why did you design your unit or instruction the way you did? Did you use your data and how? What evidence do you have that your students achieved their goals? And what are 2 areas of self-improvement you could focus on, and what steps could you take to improve in those areas? Pretty basic, right? You all could sit down and talk about that. You all know this. You wrote the TPA. How many pages was the TPA?
16.
Who had more than 100? Yeah. So you've written, some of you have written more than 100 pages about all of those things, correct? So now you just got to talk about them. Okay, so how to prepare. You need to think about the questions and how to answer all the parts, not just pieces. You know, like when you get a test and it says it has 2 parts to a question. You have to answer 2 parts to the question. Don't just answer the one part. Okay, J. Michael touched on this. Bring evidence. Bring examples of student work. Bring videos of yourself teaching. Bring pictures that you took to supplement your answers. Okay, a lot of you did all of these things for the TPA anyway. You need to, now, I will just say this. Anything you bring, i.e. today, if you bring a laptop to show a video or an iPad to show a video on, that's up to you. That's all you. That's on you. We will not have stuff like that set up. Okay? So whatever you bring, you need to bring it. Okay? Hard copies, whatever you bring, you need to bring 3. Because you have 3 guild judges. It's nice. When you walk into an interview and you have a portfolio, but you also have your resume, who do you give a resume to? Everybody at the table. Okay, same thing here. Everybody at the table gets a copy. I didn't bring any with me. I moved offices and I can't find anything. It's nice to make a packet, a folder. You know, you guys know where I'm going with this. Make something to hand to someone, something physical that they can hang on to. Okay. In that, you could have printouts of your graphs from your data showing your growth. You could have printouts of pictures that you took during your unit. You could have copies of student work, obviously with names removed. Anything like that. Okay. Any questions right now? You guys want to interject? If you want to, if I forget something, tell me, because you're good at remembering and I'm not. Practice. This is not something you're going to just get your stuff together and show up. No matter what I do, and I've been doing this for a long time, I still practice. If I have to go give a presentation somewhere on something, yeah, it was maybe a few years ago, I had to go to a Board of Education meeting and do a presentation on the TIR program. And so that morning, I did my presentation while my husband was in the shower, while I was drying my hair for him. I gave my presentation. Because I wanted to practice it. I needed to go through all my stuff I was going to say. You know? Practice this with somebody. Your mom, your dad, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, anybody who will listen to you, practice it with them. Practice your technology. If you're going to bring an iPad and show a video, practice your things. Work on your timing. Work on your speech. You're going to have a rubric. You're going to have a copy of it. So you can see, you know, that person that's helping you can tell you what you missed or if you got everything. Be able to discuss ways to improve yourself. That is one of my pet peeves in this whole situation, is if somebody can't think of something they can improve on. And we have one there'll be one of y'all in this room say, oh, I'm good. No, you're not, but okay. You got to be able to improve. Think of 2 ways. Dress professionally, and this says plan to arrive at least 15 minutes early. I'd plan to arrive 30 minutes early. Just do it. What you will do is you'll come upstairs where we're at today. You know those lobbies out front. Look for Tanya. Y'all know Tanya. Yeah. If Tanya isn't available, my GA Alyssa might be here for one of those days. Alyssa is about 6 foot tall and has blonde hair. You can't miss her. And she will check you off. You just check in with her. Okay? I will not be over here checking people in because I'll probably be on one of the panels, depending on how many people I have. So you need to check in with whoever's here and just have a seat. Now, do some of these interviews run over and instead of getting started at 10, you might get started at 10:30? Yeah, because some people get windy. My husband is one of them. He always runs late when he does these. He and Jennifer Jackson usually are together. They like to talk to people. So, anyway, I'm like, you give me trouble all the time. So yeah, if you're at 10, be here at 9:30. You might not get started till 10:30. We try to make sure everybody's on time, but sometimes it doesn't always work out. It's just like a regular job interview. All right, so the schedule is this. November 14th, 15th, and 16th. Those are the days I have set aside for these interviews. That's a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Thursday. We usually get started about 9 a.m. and they'll run through the afternoon. Now, this is what I want you to know. I will have this schedule set and you will be notified by November the 10th, which is that Friday before. If on November the 10th you have not heard from me, you need to tell me, because here's what happens sometimes. If y'all have been in my office, you see that spreadsheet I work from, and what I do is as I send them, I highlight and I cross people off and stuff. And sometimes I get mixed up. It happens. I know I make mistakes. Can you believe it? But so if you haven't heard from me by the 10th, you need to get in touch with me. You will have heard from me by the 10th, though. If you have a specific date or a specific time that you want to request, let's say that on November the 14th, your school, you are having a social studies fair in your classroom and you have worked so hard at planning it and worked with your teachers, so you really don't want your appointment on November 14th. Just send me an email and tell me. It's no big deal. Try to work around people, but you got to have a reason. Don't be like, I want mine on the 15th because Wednesday's a better day for me in my astrological sign or something crazy, you know? I like y'all, but I got to do my job. So, if there is a particular, and I typically don't say this, but I want to put your mind at ease. If there's a particular professor or someone that you've worked with in the past that you may have had a problem with, that you would really rather not sit on yours, let me know. It would be between me and you. It's no problem. Don't just say, I don't want so-and-so because I don't like them. That's not really how this works. So if you have a request, I have to have it by Wednesday the 8th at 4 o'clock. If you send it at 4:01, I'm not taking it because you have plenty of time to put this request in. So I have to have the request by Wednesday the 8th at 4 o'clock if you have a specific request, and it has to be a legitimate request, not just a request, okay? I will notify you by the 10th. Your appointment will either be on the 14th, the 15th, or the 16th, and I will give you a time. I try to look at where people are located. So if you're driving from Charleston, I'm not going to give you the very first appointment. That sort of situation. Makes sense? I will say this. So you will come to me, you'll come here for this either in the morning or the afternoon. If it's in the morning, you got to go back to school. If it's in the afternoon, you got to go to school and then come here. You don't get a full day off. All right? Please do not send me that question, because if you do, I'm going to be aggravated. Because I'm telling you now. All right? So show up where you're supposed to be, and then come here, or show up here and then go to where you're supposed to be. Everybody understood? Okay. All right. Questions? Yes.
So our university supervisor won't be in the panel, but I talked to my classroom supervisor that's been coming to see me, and she said that she wanted to be in it.
That's your university supervisor.
It is, okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Advice.
Yeah, she will likely know.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure that they, and a lot of, the thing is that we, Dr. Muffin will say too, we watch you guys grow through this and we take care of you, but we try to give you with somebody new so that you get a new fresh face, okay? It could happen. I mean, it just depends on how the scheduling goes. Sometimes I can't work people in where I need to work them in and I have to move people around. There have been in the past when a student would email me and say, you gave me a 1 o'clock appointment and I actually have to go to the doctor at 1 o'clock, but I know you gave so-and-so at 9 o'clock and we talked and we decided to switch. And that's fine, so things like that have happened in the past, but I just have to know. All right.
Okay. What I walked out when you said this. When are these?
14th, 15th, and 16th of November.
Okay, we've got us on our schedule, I've got to reschedule.
Last year I planned it, and because I don't get Veterans Day or any of those days off, I forgot, and I planned it on Veterans Day. So, anyways, we're mad at me, so back off, you know. And that's a good thing too. Everybody here should be off on that Friday before, right, for Veterans Day? Yeah. So you have plenty of time to prep too. You have a full day there. I mean, if you really needed a full day to get it together, but I don't think you do. So, all right, questions. This is the time to ask, and there are no silly questions with this because I want to put everyone's mind at ease. Yes.
Okay. So, well, this isn't necessarily interview, but
Okay.
for our second placement, my teacher got an email saying it was 3 to 5 or 5 to 8, whichever one it is.
Mhm.
Is there anything that needs to be turned in formally for
No.
the second placement?
That's a good question. You do not submit a formal unit to me. You need to show it to your supervisor, and they will check off on it. And your cooperating teacher, obviously, who is giving you guidance on that. Okay, yes, sir.
Should my placement be in life tech?
It should be. Is it not? Okay.
Well, it says that I have like one ending or something, but I can't like click it or log anything.
You can't click it or log. I will check it. Let me make a note of that. Has everyone else been able to access their second placement? Yes, you have not.
And I still have one from like PDF 2.7.
Yeah, that's probably still showing. I will just tell you this. Some of your placements, have you all opened up and noticed that you have like old stuff showing up?
Yeah.
Okay, that is because we're working on all of our accreditation data, and we're trying to run all of these reports. In order to run the reports, we have to open up the placements. So that's what that is. So let me write this down about J. Michael and Allison. Is everyone else able to log on live text right now? Okay. So a lot of you have probably have seen that your first placement, it looks like you're still in it. Does it still look like you're still in it, or is it's moved on, but it was later, right? Your last placement's going to be the same. Does it say like December 15th or something like that? We give that cushion to give teachers time and give supervisors time to get final evaluations done. That's what that's all about. Okay, so please don't misunderstand that. Yes?
When is our last day of the second placement?
Okay, good question. December 5th is your final day if you don't have any makeup days. I think it's a Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday. Do you guys have any idea why it's December 5th, why I make it December 5th?
So you have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for makeup days?
And the whole next week, if you need to. Typically, well, a lot of times, most people will have one makeup day they have to make up. This semester, maybe not so much. Last semester, the last few semesters have not been that bad. When I first took over, we had people who had to make up numerous days, and it was just really ridiculous. So, yes?
I walked in on the end of this, so you probably already covered it, but
It's okay.
if we get a part of the TPA back that we have to redo, how long do they normally have to do that?
In the email that you get, it will tell you. But I will just tell you this. The quicker you can do it, and the quicker you can get it back to the grader, the quicker it can be graded, and the quicker you can forget about it. Does this make sense? That it's completely out of your mind? Yes.
So like, let's just say not fact, but I've heard that someone like was told like 3 days before graduation, hey, you might have to redo this part of the TPA. Could that happen to me if I am a part of it? Hopefully I don't, but I'm just.
Okay.
I think she's had all this due a lot quicker, so that what you're talking about won't happen
Right.
for that very reason.
Or their earlier due
The
dates,
graders
okay.
are
Earlier.
grading in a week,
Yes.
which is a lot quicker.
You had a week turnover, correct, for the
A week,
grading?
And I'd say, and I don't know what the turnaround is if you have to fix something. I don't want to say a week because I'm not sure, but
Right. A few days.
it's something.
I will just say this. A couple semesters ago, in the past, when we first started this, the grading was later. We let people submit later. So then the grading was later, and then if you had to revise, it was later. And I literally was talking to someone at the Friday night ceremony about their TPA. Nobody wants that going on. I don't want that going on, and y'all don't want that going on. So, this is my suggestion. If you get that email,
Do it.
get busy, you know? And go ahead.
One thing I want to add, I know I said this early on, and just about any time we've had people to resubmit, it's usually because there's not enough information.
Yeah.
So you need to provide more information if you're asked to resubmit,
Yeah,
because it's just not there.
right.
We can always look over stuff, but if it's not there, we can't.
You can't,
make it. It's
yeah,
not
you can't
there.
grade it if it's not there.
So that's usually, in the experience I've seen,
Right.
that's what it is.
I agree. And I will just say this, our graders have all been trained. Our graders are all pretty awesome. They understand what the expectations are. They're not super picky about everything. I mean, wouldn't you agree, Dr. Lockwood? I mean, you have a rubric and you go by it, and that's just how it goes. Now, you do, remember, if you get a 1 on any section, you do have to revise it and resubmit it. Or if there's any section where the grader needs more information,
Do we get to know who graded it?
you're not supposed to.
Okay.
There was a setting that was accidentally turned off for a minute. Some of you probably know who your grader was because you logged on and saw. That setting has since been fixed, so.
I was just curious.
Yeah, the people who you need to go through, if you have a question, Candace, or if you can't get in touch with her, me. That's who will take care of it. Yes?
Okay, so just to clarify, so I don't sound dumb later on.
No, it's fine.
When they ask you to resubmit it, you just take the whole file and resubmit it with like saying, I fixed this section?
She will give you information on exactly
Okay, I
what's
just wasn't sure if it was
expected.
like the whole file.
No, I'm not sure either, okay? I don't want to say that and it be wrong, so I won't say it either. Yes?
Okay, when everything's said and done, do we have access to what our scores were and where we get them?
I'm sure that you do.
I mean,
Through live
it's
text,
in live
yeah.
text, so
It should be in
Each
live
task
text.
you'll have-
Yeah, each task, the rubric for each task is in there, and it can be expanded, and there can be comments made, and so, yeah, it's great through live text. Yes,
If we don't need to make any revisions, will we be notified of that in some way?
yes.
Know we're like-
You will get an email that says, congratulations, you have passed all sections of your TPA. Whew, right? I know. Sometimes they're, like, around here, sometimes they'll say, oh, no news is good news. No, I need news. I need A or B. I need something. So, yeah, you'll be notified if you pass, so you can just check that off. So, I would just say this. I feel like in the past, maybe some people have not done well on the capstone because they didn't take it very seriously on this interview. So please take it seriously. I will also say this, if you don't pass, it's always the question. And every semester, there are people who don't pass on the first time. And typically, someone doesn't pass that I'm shocked doesn't pass because they are super students. They will have to come back in and they will do their interview over again. They'll get a second opportunity with a different grader. It's typically Dr. Isaacs who does it, who's very calm. So don't fail just to get her to check yours off, She's very chill and ask good questions. But that's typically who has helped me in the past. If you do pass, okay, so we've got November 14th, 15th, and 16th. So every day after those interviews come through, Tanya takes those spreadsheets and she averages it for me and gives me a score like a 1.0 to or a 0.0 to a 4.0. Okay? And so I can note the score. So as long as you get a 3.0, we're good. Anything below a 3, you'll have to redo. So what happens is on that Friday, 14th, 15th, 16th, on the 17th, we scan all of these, and I email you your rubric, and it will say, congratulations, you passed your TPA, or attached is your TPA score sheet, blah, blah, blah. And I'll email all those, and then I'll email this little section right here and say, can you come into the office on Tuesday at 3 to review your pass note? Okay, and that's what we do. So on that Friday, on the 17th, you will receive a score. Maybe before if I'm on it, but don't expect to, don't show it. So by the 17th, you'll have your score. Yay or nay? Okay. All right. I know we have a lot of info. Yes.
One more question.
Go
I was
ahead.
never able to access my final scores from my cooperating teacher.
Your first
and-
placement.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't.
Nobody?
I can now.
Is it open now?
Once you start the new one, the old one opens.
Okay. Some people say it's open. You're saying it's still not open.
Mine's
Okay.
gone completely, even though looking
When
at
you
mine.
go to fall and.
It's not, it's acting like it's even.
Even if you click completed, like completed
I can
placements.
try again. but-
Try again. If you can't see it, Brooke couldn't see hers.
But I have it now.
But now you're able to access it.
Yeah, it disappeared and then it showed back up.
Okay. The system is a little wonky, this program is. But what I do with all of those rubrics, because Brooke said, can you just send me mine? I mean, I just need, and I'm the same way, I need to know. I need to know what I did, if I did good. So what I do is I have to log in, I go to each individual student, and I do this every semester, and I change your thing into a PDF, and then I save it under your name as a file, and it's just, so I have to do that with everybody. And it's a little time consuming, but I set aside and I do it. Because what happens is at the final seminar, we will talk about counties that you're applying to work, and they want those directly from me. They don't want a paper copy from me, so I email all of those at the end of the semester. So I have to transfer them over anyway, so. All right. Yes?
The 300 hours that's on live tests, does that count for anything? Okay.
Ignore that. Ignore that number. Thanks, Dr. Watson. Why he picked that number? I'm not sure. So, just log your time. I mean, I go through and make sure we got all the days, you know. Those are things I do check. I don't check that you have 298 out of 300, so you're not graduating. All right, anybody else? Okay. Yes.
I just checked my completed.
Uh-huh.
It's not on there.
It's not on there. Okay, shoot me an email if it's not showing up, and I will pull those. And I'm going to start going ahead and transferring those over anyway, and so I can just start sending them out to you. I'm trying to think if I have one more thing to tell you. Anybody have any questions? If you have a question that you don't want to ask in front of the group, it's fine, find me, or you can email me, it'll be fine. Can't think of anything else. Anybody have anything else? Yes.
Okay, I have several.
Okay. Several.
Okay. So, do we fill out the responsibility forms again?
Good question. I would like for you to. I think it's a good way to keep everybody on track. I don't necessarily need a contract, but the responsibility form, I think, is a good idea.
Do you need it? Do you like
If you could send those to me tomorrow or Monday, that would be great. Everybody's rumbling. It's just, the reason that we do that, it just keeps everybody on the same page, and it sort of protects you when it comes down, if your teacher is not being as cooperative and allowing you to do what needs to happen. Does that make sense? Yes.
So the teachers got an email the other day
Yes.
saying we need to teach 3 to 4 weeks. Is that all day teaching?
All day, every
Okay,
day.
we were kind of confused on that.
No, that is it's just like the first placement.
Okay.
It's an all-day teaching, okay? Yeah. You should be gradually taking over like last time, but jump in, I got an email about a level 2 that said they were sitting around. I mean, they're halfway into it. They're still sitting around, not even doing a bell ringer. No, not cool. So y'all need to be teaching. You're almost finished. Yes.
So when we do our unit, is it just the lesson plans for the 3 to 5 days or whatever? My unit's gonna be 2 weeks. Do I have to write lesson plans for all of it?
We got to write
Well,
lessons
but
for all
like
of it.
the big lesson plans for all of it.
No. Anybody else?
And you said we didn't turn those into lab
No.
tests, just so our supervisor.
Show your supervisor, they will check off. Can I tell y'all something? Yes, go ahead.
The responsibility profile, is that on live checks?
That is on the PLC website.
That's right, okay.
I'm also gonna have Jason put these things on there, but I'm also gonna email them to you, so you can have double of them, okay? That way there's no question. I just wanna say this. For, I've been doing this a few years now. I'm on my 4th year of this. And for the most part, this group has been a really great group to work with. Everybody has hiccups and everybody has issues along the way, and that's fine. But, just on a respect level, like a mutual respect level, I couldn't ask for better. Because when I'm up here talking and you're listening, that makes all the difference. And you're not talking or, and I think Dr. Walford would agree with me. So thank you all for that. Okay, any more questions? Allison, is that?
I'm not sure, this may be on the website, but when is the ceremony, the Friday night
The
ceremony?
15th.
The 15th.
I don't know, it might be something wrong.
Yeah.
It's the 15th at 6.
The 15th at 6,
In regalia.
in regalia, which means cap and gown, yes. No, it's okay.
Two ceremonies?
There are 2 ceremonies.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, there's
No.
so many dates. and I'm
That's a
like,
great
"Well, wait
question.
a minute."
No, that's good. Okay, you all are gonna get this email from probably the bookstore or something, about something called Countdown to Commencement. Y'all already got that? Okay, what Countdown to Commencement is, they have it in the DMR. It's all of these tables are set up. You can talk to financial aid about your student loans. You can talk to this person about this. You can order, this and that, but you can get your cap and gown then. Okay, do you have to? No. No, you can order it from the bookstore anytime. You can order your cap and gown anytime. The cords, the stoles, all that stuff, okay? You can come to Countdown Commencement and order all that. It's just an easy way where everybody's in the same room. That's why they have it like that. On the 15th, December 15th, and you'll get more information, we have a College of Ed ceremony. Just College of Ed students, just you people in this room, and your people that your family. Okay, it's regalia. You wear all your stuff. It's really nice. Most of the professors come. We usually have a guest speaker. Whoever student teacher of the year is also speaks. They have a section there where they speak. Everybody's name is called. Everybody walks across the stage. There are pictures. There are refreshments. It's a really great evening. It really is. It is a great ceremony if you have little kids or like elderly grandparents or somebody who can't sit through the 4-hour big ceremony. 3 to 4 hour big ceremony. This typically lasts about an hour. I'll just say that back in the day when I graduated, I did the College of Ed ceremony and didn't do the big one.
Can you do that?
Yes, you can. I had a 3-year-old and my people were my College of Ed friends, and that's who I wanted to be with. And so that's the ceremony I did. I didn't even do the big one. You can do both. You can do one or the other, or you can do none. It's totally up to you. I mean, I advise do one. You guys are going to have the pictures. You're going to have the moments. One day you're going to show your kids that you did this, When I did my master's, I wasn't going to do the hoodie and all that. And my husband was adamant that I did it because I have 2 daughters and they needed to see that I finished this with them too, It was everybody's degree. So, and I think your family probably feels that way about you. This is their degree too. So it's pretty awesome. So plan on that. That's the 15th. And then the big ceremony is that weekend as well. So, all right. Yes.
The 15th, that would be elementary and secondary?
Yeah.
Everyone?
All and music, all undergraduates.
Do you have time?
6 o'clock.
Okay.
I'll send you more information. We typically ask you to get here about 5:30. We have music prior to. Gabe was great enough. He sang at our ceremony last time. It was awesome. He rocked the stage. He might do it again. We don't know yet. We're working on that. So anyway, so we have a lot of participation. And I think it's just a great evening. Parents really love it. We have a great program. You get to take home and all that stuff. So, all right. Yes.
We don't have to do a pre-and test for or do
For your unit.
for the mini.
For the mini unit. I think it would be nice if you did.
Okay.
Yeah. Talk to your teacher though, your cooperating teacher. Anybody else for the good of the group? All right, we've got some supervisors here who probably want to meet with you. If you have any questions, you can ask them personally. If not, get back to school. I'll see y'all. I'll send all of this to you as soon as I get back to my office.